This is Gemara in Shavuos, Daf Mem Vav, and we're holding on. Mem Hey Amid Beis, we're officially 2 to 3 lines from the bottom, but we're going to go a drop higher to get a, as we call it, a running head start. We'll start 6 lines from the bottom. We like all the incredible Kayach HaTaira to be a Schos Refuah Shalema for Tinoik ben Miriam Ahuva B'Seich Sha'ar Chayle Yisrael. So let's begin. The first one line is Lahachzer Kari Rabbi Bar Chama Alid Rav Sheshes. Rabbi Bar Chama applied and discussed the following regarding Rav Sheshes. The pasuk says, "Vayasem David es advarim eila." David placed these words where Belibai in his heart. Tashche Rav Sheshes Rabbi Rav Shmuel. Rav Sheshes found Rabbi Shmuel Amar Lei Tanim Armidi Besachir. Please teach us something about a sachir, about a hired worker. A worker who says he was not paid. Amar lo in, yes, I'll teach you something, Tanina. Sachir bizmanoi. If it's during the time of his hiring, then what? Nishma v'noitel. He swears and he takes. Ketzad bizman. What does it mean? Says the Gemara. Bizmanoi. Ketzad. Bizman sha'amar lo. If the worker says to the balabas, chartani v'lonesati li. I worked for you. You hired me, but you didn't pay me yet. Schari v'loimer. And the boss says, Scharticha, yes, I ain't hired even scharich, but I paid you. Aval. However, Amar Lai, but if the worker said, Shtayim kotzatzti li, you agreed to give me 2 slayim, and the other one replies, "Lo kisati l'chalach," as knows one. Then that's a case of motzim mechaveroi. Olav haraya, says the Gemara, the worker is trying to extract money, and therefore he has to bring a raya. So says Rav Sheshes, "Tell me the seifa beraya." The seifa is talking about a case where the worker has to bring a raya. Aviresha b'loi raya. Must be the first case. Doesn't say anything about that. There's no raya. So this is the Kasha and Rav and Shmuel that said that a worker is believed to be Nishma v'Noitel only if he's hired in the presence of Eidim. Says the Gemara, Amar Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak teaches Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak what? Reisha, the first case, Reisha v'Seifa Biraya. Raya de l'shalom katani, raya de shvua lo katani. There's different types of rayas. The Gemara explains. A raya de shalem, that's what we spoke about, but not a raya for a shvua. And now we continue a little bit deeper into the halachos of the debate between the worker, the sachir, and the balabais. Omar Rav Yirmiyah bar Abba, shalchu leim yibir Rav l'shmuel. Yelandeinu Rabbeinu, Rabbi, you taught us. The other guy says like Gisati l'chalach Chazmi nishma. Amrlen bezugi shava balabayis yafsid uman. In this case, Balabayis swears, and the uman loses. Why? Ksitza vaday mitkar t'chiri ishi inshi. Because once something is set in stone, once something has an organized plan, therefore a setup, a ksitza that people will remember, and therefore it's on the balabais. Says Mar'ini is that Shuv Tani Rabbi Shmuel, 10 lines down. Kotzatz Hamoitzi v'Chaveroi Olav Haraya V'Loi Ma'isi Raya. Then what? Paka. If he doesn't bring a raya, then it's going to be Paka. Says the Gemara, Amri Amai. Why is it Paki? Shava balabais v'Yavsid Uman. That's balabais swear. And the Uman will lose out. Why are we saying not that way? Meisvei continues the Gemara with another kasha. Amar Rav Nachman, no say, no, where did we go? No, I skipped a line. Amar Rav Nachman, let's dadin katani. Oy maybe Rav Yital, oy yishav alvayis yavsid Uman. The way to read the Brisa is to split it into 2 cases, and then it's not going to be a kasha. Meisvei asked the Gemara, and I seen Talisa Luman. Someone gives a garment to an Uman. Uman oimer katzatzi lishtayim. We made up You have to pay me 2 slayim. No, I only owe you 1. Calls uman. So if the uman has the talis, but has the talis, so the shaila is who is the mitzi and who is the muchzik. So if the uman has the talis, then al balabais savir hay nas nalai. Whereas if the uman has given the talis to the balabais, bismanoi, if he give back to him during the time, then what? Nishva then the uman swears and takes. If it's after the amount of time, then what? But says the Gemara, what do we see from this price of Izvano Mia Nishva during the requisite time, then he's able to swear and collect, even though they're arguing over the dollar amount. And the Kash is uman. The Balabais should be allowed to swear, and the uman will lose out. So Rav Nachman Yitzchak says, Rav Nachman Yitzchak, you know why this works out? Because this is not the Stam Shita, this does not opinion follow everyone, but rather Hamani, Rav Yehudi, Damar, Kozman Sheshua, Noitel, Talabai, Sacher, Nishav, and Noitel. Says Rav Yehuda, a Mechudishik Shita, that whenever someone has to make a Shvua, is the Balabayis, Midaraisa, Chacham allow the worker to be Nishva V'Noitel. And therefore, in this case, his Balabayis is a Moidim and Mixas, and therefore he has a Shua Midaraisa. That's the reason why the Uman is allowed to swear. Says the Gemara, which Rav Yehuda? Hey Rav Yehuda, Ilim Rav Yehuda Mas Nisan. If it's Rav Yehuda in our Mishnah, Rav Yehuda says that whenever there is a Moidim and Mixas, there is a Chiyav Shvuah. That's Rav Yehuda, Achmuri Kamachmir. Then Rav Yehuda is more Chomer than the Rabbanan. Te'tenan. As you learn to the Mishnah, Rav Yehuda Aimer, Acheisha Mixas Haida. Says Rav Yehuda that he only could swear unless it's a Mixas Haida. The Rabbanan are more Mekel and allow him to make a Shvuah even if there's no Mixas Haida. So what do we see? We see that when they're debating the dollar value, the Rabbanan are machmir and don't allow him to swear. And certainly Rav Yehuda would not allow him to swear. So it can't be Rav Yehuda of our Mishnah. Ela Rav Yehuda de Braisa. Titania, we learned in a Braisa, Zachar goes man shalei over olav zmanoi. As long as his man is not passed, he's an ishva v'noitel v'imlav. Einoi nishva v'noitel. And on this Braisa of Omer Rav Yehuda imasai. When is this? Bizman sharmul atenli schari chamishim dinner. Sheishli biyadcha. Give me the schar 50 dinars in your hands. Omer eskabalti men dinars of. And the Balabais replied, you already got a golden dinner. I already paid you part of it. Is case. He says, what? I never hired you. Or I already paid you. Then it'll be Motzach. So here we have Shitas Rav Yehuda Mamish saying the same thing that we said, that when they're debating how much the dollar value is, the halacha is the worker swears and collects as much as he is claiming. Why? Because the Balabayis was a Moida b'mixas. Says the Gemara, Maskif la Rav Shisha Breid Ravidi. Elakotzas Rav Yehuda, it comes out that you're telling me that in the case in which there is a ktitza, case in which the Balabai is stipulated, Rav Yehuda hivla Rabbanon. Hashta yichim demachmer Rav Yehuda mekil Rabbanon. So what does it come out? Comes out that if Rav Yehuda's machmir, the Rabbanon are mekel. So then what? Heicha de mekel Rav Yehuda machmir Rabbanon. It makes no sense. Elamai. So rather, what are you going to tell me, Rabbanon? That what if she does Rabbanon? Mani, then the statement of Rav Shmuel comes out on the last narrow line. Rav Yehuda Rabbanon, it's no one. My Rav Abakam, if Rav Yehuda Sava the rice of the late Akanta, the Sachir, the Rabbanon, have it Akanta. So explains the Gemara, you know how it works over here, similar to what we saw in the previous daf. That what Midaraisa the Rabbanon made a takana for the workers. Upadrabanan, that's what it's a shvua daraisa. But when it's a shvua darabanan, then avitakanta, vitakanta, loy avdinon. Rabbanan zavri, but the Rabbanami avdina takanta, even the Rabbanan we make a takanta the sacher uksisa mitchar dachir. Why? Because in a case where they were katzats, they stipulated the right amount. Mitkar dakir, we can assume the balabais will remember. And with that, we move on to the next case of the Mishnah. Nigzal, Kitzad Hayam Eidin al Shenichlas the Beisal Mashkin V'chulu. What is the case of Gezela that we say Kvinisha V'Naitel? The Eidin testify that he entered the house to collect the mashkoin without permission, and he denies that it ever happened. The halacha is there's a shvua, Nishma V'Naitel, whatever he's claiming was stolen. Ask the Gemara, how is this Shaykh V'Dom Mashkinai? But maybe he didn't take any mashkin at all. So why are we allowing him to be nishav and aitel just because he says that that guy entered my house? Every time he enters a house, do we assume that he took something? Mi loy amar Rav Nachman, Rav Nachman atzei ayman dinokin nargo biyadei. Says Rav Nachman, and someone has an axe, and he says Esav akatzlei, and he says I'm going to go and I'm going to chop down the dikla plani, the tea tree of so and so. V'shachel tekatel, and we find out that it's been chopped down. Loy v'shadi, and it's on the floor. Loy aminan dahu katel. Just because he said it doesn't mean that's a circumstantial enough evidence that he did it. So Alma, what do we see? Ovid and Ishtekazim, Loy Ovid. People are maxim, people elaborate, exaggerate. Hachinami de Kazim Loy Ovid. So we should assume the same thing over here. So why are we allowing him to swear? Says the Gemara, Ima Omashkenai. Say that he actually, we know that he took the mashkin. It says Gemara, but if that's the case, for lech say my mashkin, just see what he took. The case is in which he claims that he took small kelim that what, and he told him techas kenafa that can be carried out under his clothing, and therefore we don't know exactly what was taken. The fact that we know he took something is not enough. Says Rav Yehuda, let's say someone sees someone leaving his friend's house with some kelim under his clothing and he's departing. What is the halacha v'amar? And later he says, "Lekuchen, I bought these things ein biyadi." What's the halacha? As he believes, says the Gemara in top line and Vav and Beis, no, einoi neman. V'loya amrina, and we do not say about sheni asli limkar kelim. Only in a case which a Baal Bayis who does not normally sell his kelim, a Baal Bayis also limkars kelim, then neman, he is believed. It's asked the Gemara, "V'shinat limkars kelim." He doesn't normally sell things. Loyamara and ela dvarim she'in darkon lahatman. This is only in a case which items which are not normally hidden. Aval dvarim she'darkon lahatman. Nachamol, neman, he's going to believe. Shein darkon lahatman. Nami loyamara, says the Gemara, le'inish loy tzniya. Only someone who doesn't normally, he's not normally secretive. Aval inish tzniya, hainu orchei. Then that is his usual manner, and therefore he's believed to say that he bought it. V'loya amaron, and the next level of qualification says the Gemara, Ela zelmer shulim zemer lekuch. One said it was borrowed, and one said it was bought. Avol biganuvim. But in the case where the Baal Bayis says they're stolen, lav go kiminachzin she beganvi loy mechazkina. You cannot just claim that someone is a ganev just because he has an item of yours. Veloya amaran, and the final level of dvarim hasuyil hashal haschil, items that are normally lent and rented. Of dvarim she'ein hasil hashal haschil, then nacham al neban, he's going to be believed. Why? Deshal Ravuna baravin dvarim hasuyil hashal haschil, items that are normally rented and lent. Dvarim lekuchen biyadi, he said he bought them in an neban. Ki hadir Rava, says the Gemara, as we saw from Rava, as he took a pair of scissors or a book of Agadim, he asked me if since these are items that are normally rented or lent. Says the Gemara, Amar Rava, smack in the middle of the Amid. First one line is Afilu shomer nishba, Afilu ish tashel shomer nishbas. a shomer can make a shvua that whatever the person stole, as well as the shomer's wife. What if he hired someone or someone that works for him? What's halacha? Teku, says the Gemara. Do they have an amanis? The Gemara does not know. Says Rav Yim the Rav Ashi, if he claimed that he stole a silver goblet, what is the halacha? Can you believe him that he stole such an expensive item? Says the Gemara Chazina. If he's a wealthy guy who that someone will give him such a bikad, he'll swear and I'll take it. If not, then you cannot be believed in such an item. Pick it up from here, B'siyata Dishmaya.